Every detective show you've ever watched has trained you for one thing: the big reveal. The moment the killer is unmasked, the puzzle pieces click, and the mystery is solved. It's the core of the genre, right? But what if I told you the greatest detective show of all time breaks that rule entirely? What if it showed you the killer in the first 5 minutes? And what if that seemingly counterintuitive choice isn't a flaw, but the very secret to its enduring genius? Today, we are not just watching Columbo, we're dissecting the brilliant, almost subversive reason why we always see the killer first, and why it makes the show infinitely more compelling, more rewatchable, and frankly, more intelligent than almost anything else on television. Whether you're new to Columbo or a long-time fan, you'll like where this goes. Stick with me, because the opening choice explains basically everything about the show. Before we dive into Columbo's brilliance, let's clarify what it isn't. Most detective shows are whodunits. Think Sherlock, Murder, She Wrote, Agatha Christie. The entire narrative tension hinges on one question: who committed the crime? We, the audience, are detectives alongside the protagonist, piecing together clues, eliminating suspects, all building to that climactic reveal. The thrill is in the chase for identity. See, Columbo doesn't do that. It's an inverted detective story, or, as it's more famously known, a Howcatchem. From the opening scene, we witness the murder. We see the killer plan, execute, and meticulously cover up their tracks. The burning question becomes, how is Columbo going to catch them? Now, Columbo didn't invent this format. The Howcatchem goes back over a century. R. Austin Freeman wrote stories about Dr. Thorndyke in the early 1900s using this structure. Novels like Malice Aforethought and The 1230 from Croydon used it. The BBC also adapted Dial M for Murder as an inverted mystery in the 1950s. Later on, shows like Diagnosis Murder and Death Note would use the format too. But Columbo did not just use the inverted detective format. It perfected it, made it the foundation of a 10-season run that's still being watched 50 years later. And the reason that it's still rewatchable today comes down to a few specific effects this format has on you as the viewer. Before we unpack why this Howcatchem format is so revolutionary, let's get specific about how Columbo actually executes it. Because while the core principle remains steadfast, we always know who the killer is, the show's approach to revealing them is surprisingly varied. I have found 3 primary types of Columbo openings. Number 1, motive and murder. This is the classic, most frequent type. We see everything: the killer's motive, the planning, and the murder itself, often in careful, almost ritualistic detail. Episodes like Etude in Black or Negative Reaction fall into this category. We see the killer fed up with their wives complaining, getting blackmailed, or whatever it is. We see them rehearse the plan and execute it with confidence. Whether motive or setup comes first, the message is clear. This plan is airtight, and this will work.
They'll know you did it.
I don't think so.
From the very first frame, the show establishes a profound sense of control. Not just over the victim, but over the entire narrative. Number 2, the murder without full context. In these episodes, we witness the murder, but the full context is not immediately revealed. The why or the how might still hold a subtle layer of mystery. Consider Double Shock. We see the murderer, but we don't know which twin actually committed it. Or Murder Under Glass. We see Jordan make the poison and the victim die, but the precise method of delivery into the wine bottle remains a puzzle until Columbo's brilliant deduction. This isn't a traditional mystery. It simply shifts our focus from who did it to how did they pull that off. Finally, the off-screen murder. More rarely, the killing itself isn't shown directly. Instead, we infer it through the aftermath, discovery, or reaction.
He's dead, I tell you. I can feel it in my spine.
What's crucial here is the killer's identity is still made clear very early on. Even when the violence is absent, the responsibility is not. Episodes like Blueprint for Murder, Columbo Cries Wolf, or A Friend Indeed do this. The emphasis shifts away from the spectacle and towards performance, how the killer behaves after the act. Across all three categories, the rule is consistent. The audience is never meant to wonder who did it. And that choice doesn't just change the plot, it profoundly changes how your brain engages with every single episode.
Taking the air.
11A8 clear, 12A15 roger, 11A7 clear, 1A13.
This is it. This is the core of Columbo's genius. Showing us the killer first is not just a stylistic choice. It fundamentally rewires your entire viewing experience in three key ways. Number one, it changes the game. Most crime shows invite you to play a similar game. Can you catch the killer before the detective? You're sifting through red herrings, scrutinising suspects, and piecing together motives. It's a race against the clock, a puzzle to be solved. But in Columbo, that game is completely transformed. Because we already know who did it, the tension shifts. Now the game becomes, what crucial mistake did they make? What subtle clue did they overlook? And how exactly is Columbo going to prove it? And it's still exciting, arguably more exciting, because you're not just passively waiting for a reveal. You're actively noticing. On a first watch, you're watching the cat and mouse game. You're seeing Columbo circle, ask his seemingly random questions, and you're waiting for the moment the killer realizes they're caught. But on a rewatch, that's where it gets really good, because now you can see everything Columbo is doing. Every question has purpose. Every tangent has direction. Take Etude in Black. There's a whole scene where Columbo asks Benedict how much he pays on taxes in this house. On first viewing, it feels like classic Columbo meandering. But on a rewatch, you realise he's establishing that Alex needs his wealthy wife to maintain his lifestyle, providing a powerful motive to eliminate the mistress who's threatening to expose their affair. That wasn't random. It was Columbo building his case, brick by painstaking brick. I know you don't give out likes for free or just to anyone, but if you're enjoying this deep dive into Columbo's brilliance, please do hit that like button. On to number 2. It aligns us with the killer. So, in traditional mysteries, our allegiance is with the detective. We're on their team, following their logic and cheering for their success. Columbo flips this dynamic entirely. By following the killer from the outset, they effectively become our reluctant protagonist, our anti-hero. And because of this, our feelings towards these killers is a roller coaster. Sometimes we find ourselves strangely rooting for them, understanding their desperate circumstances. Take Kay Freestone in Make Me a Perfect Murder, Nora Chandler in Requiem for a Falling Star, Liv Santini in Now You See Me. Like, it was either kill the guy or go to the Nazi prison camp. And definitely with Janet Leigh in Forgotten Lady. Other times, their arrogance or cruelty makes us yearn for Columbo to deliver justice swiftly, like Jarvis Goodland in Greenhouse Jungle, or Major General Hollister in Deadweight. And I've got a controversial take, Beth Chadwick in Lady in Waiting. I don't know, guys, I just did not like her behaviour after she killed the brother. Then she just had a whole makeover. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I don't know, it was a bit too swift for me. It was a bit too fast. Then she started bossing everyone around, how she wants the company to be run. Then she's bossing around her fiance, and then he didn't even like her. I don't know, man. I don't really feel too much sympathy for her. I don't really feel too much sympathy for Beth Chadwick, but I know that one's a controversial take. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, regardless of our emotional alignment, we are invested in their story, watching their intricate dance with Columbo. The show subtly trains us to observe human behaviour with that same piercing insight as the lieutenant himself. We're not solving a mystery, we're studying the human condition under pressure. Let me know in the comments, which killer did you sympathise with? Finally, and perhaps the most powerfully, Seeing the killer first creates an unparalleled sense of dramatic irony. Conventional crime shows thrive on suspense. Will the killer be caught? Will the detective solve it in time? The if hangs heavy in the air. But in Columbo, there is no if. We know Columbo is brilliant, and we know he will catch them. The only question that truly matters is when the killer will realise they've already been caught. This knowledge fundamentally changes every interaction. We, the audience, are privy to the killer's actions, their meticulously crafted plan. So every seemingly innocent question of Columbo, every casual one more thing, carries a profound second meaning. Take Kevin Franklin in Murder by the Book. He treats Columbo like an absolute idiot the entire episode.
You see, she would have figured it out that this is not just someone missing. This is a professional killing.
Patronising, condescending, acting like he's doing Columbo a favour by even speaking to him. And we're sitting here watching, like, mate, he knows. He definitely knows. The tension here doesn't come from uncertainty. It comes from the inevitability of our reluctant protagonist's downfall. Yet, even with this dramatic irony, the show maintains its grip. Because while we have the facts of the crime, we don't possess their evidential quality. Columbo, with his unparalleled insight, takes those same facts and pieces them together in a way that not only exposes the killer, but also reveals the intricate how of their undoing. And this, ultimately, is where the true genius of Columbo lies. By showing us the killer first, the show doesn't just entertain, it transforms us into active participants in a masterclass of human observation and psychological warfare.
But I'll tell you, what is the quickest way down?
Oh, yes, by far.
This structure explains something many viewers experience instinctively. Columbo gets better on Rewatch. In a traditional whodunit, once a killer is unmasked, the episode often loses its primary allure. The surprise is gone, the central mystery solved, and that engine that drove your initial engagement has effectively done its job.
Goodbye, Jean. Thank
Goodbye.
you. See you
Thank
next
you very
week.
much.
Bye, Felicia.
You might revisit it for the performance or the atmosphere, but that core thrill of the unknown has vanished. Columbo, however, doesn't rely on that initial shock. Because you already knew the ending the first time, on a rewatch, you're not losing anything. Instead, you're gaining clarity. You begin to notice how early the killer gives himself away, how often Columbo tests the same point from different angles, how the structure tightens scene by scene, and each moment that Columbo knows.
He should. Lord knows I'm not the brightest guy on the force. Another detective, he could cut right through all this.
The pleasure shifts from initial revelation to construction. You're watching how the episode works, and not what it reveals. Compare this to Poirot, or modern prestige crime dramas like True Detective or Broadchurch. Those shows reward cleverness and twist management. They're designed to shock you once. Columbo, on the other hand, rewards patience and attention. It's designed to be rewatched again and again, with each viewing revealing more layers. I've watched A Stitch in Crime multiple times, and even knowing who did it and how they did it, I'm still genuinely baffled at how Columbo is going to prove it every single time. Dr. Mayfield has committed what seems like the perfect double murder, one victim already dead and one slowly dying. There's no easy evidence tying him to either crime. And yet, watching Columbo work, seeing him slowly, methodically build a case out of seemingly nothing, it's still thrilling. Because I'm not watching for the answer, I'm watching the process itself.
And that is all for part 1 of Why We See the Killer First. In part 2, I will be doing a deep dive into what it would look like and why it wouldn't work if we saw the killer first, and also give a few case studies, which is code word for my favourite episodes. So stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments, what is your favourite Howcatchem moment? Are there any other shows that do this that you really enjoy? Let me know, I'll have a look. And keep your eyes peeled for part 2. Thank you for watching, and just one more thing, Don't forget to like and subscribe.